Holy shit, guys, can you believe we made it almost all the way to the end of 2014?
What an especially weird year it has been.
Yeah, so weird, in fact, that we were forced to create a weekly news show centered around all the weirdest stuff that graced our news feeds.
There just wasn't enough places to put all this weird shit.
I can't hold all these weirds.
Yeah, so I mean, when we started this show, we thought to ourselves, oh, is there really gonna be enough weird news happening every week to actually keep this thing going?
And not just going, thriving?
Yeah. Well, we quickly found out that yes, humanity is strange and weird and disgusting, and life finds a way to make fucked up things happen.
Yeah, so in celebration of all the weird shit that has happened this year, we're gonna do a roundup of the best or weirdest of 2014. Yeah, this is sort of a clip show, which we might think is maybe the first on YouTube. Definitely a first for our channel, but whatever. We're gonna throw some new ones in from earlier in the year as well, so that you're not just seeing stuff we've already done.
So let's start out with a story from all the way back in February, where the mascot for crime prevention, made famous for his 1990s PSA commercials, McGruff the Crime Dog, was sentenced to 16 years in prison for having 1,000 marijuana plants and a grenade launcher.
Okay, we realize that a walking, talking dog that takes a bite out of crime isn't real, nor can it receive that sentence. But the actor who played the dog at local events in an attempt to teach kids that crime doesn't pay can in fact get arrested and face a sentence.
I mean, I think if it had been an actual dog, they would have just put it down.
Yeah, it would have been killed immediately.
Or studied.
Yeah.
So this guy's name was not McGruff, it was John Morales, and when police raided his home, they found 1,000 pot plants, ammunition, weapons, and a grenade launcher.
Okay, the pot plants are one thing, but a grenade launcher? Bad dog!
Next up, back in June, as the East Coast readied itself for another hurricane season, a new study was released which suggested that female hurricanes kill more people than male hurricanes.
And the reason was that people didn't respect the female hurricanes enough.
Oh, you're gonna destroy my house?
Okay, yeah, sure. I won't even put boards up on the windows.
Yeah. I guess the Gamergate shit goes deep.
It sure does. Anyways, let's talk about how a goddamn hurricane is male or female. According to geology.com, using names for these storms makes it much easier for meteorologists, researchers, emergency respond workers, ship captains, and citizens to communicate about specific hurricanes and be clearly understood.
And it makes life hell for one unfortunately named kid every hurricane season. So during the Second World War, military meteorologists working in the Pacific began to use women's names for storms. That naming method made communication so easy that in 1953 it was adopted by the National Hurricane Center for use on storms originating in the Atlantic Ocean.
In 1978, meteorologists watching storms in the eastern North Pacific began using men's names for half of the storms. Meteorologists for the Atlantic Ocean began using men's names in 1979.
So anyway, two universities, the University of Illinois and Arizona State, did some research into which hurricanes killed more people and why, and what they found out will change your life forever.
Okay, no it won't, but it's still interesting.
Yeah, their model suggests that changing a severe hurricane's name from Charlie to Eloise could nearly triple its death toll, and that sexism has the potential to influence our judgments.
I mean, let's face it, a storm is a storm no matter what it's named, but according to this research, people, when faced with a female named hurricane, were not as willing to seek shelter, which is bad.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Having grown up in Florida, which gets hit with hurricanes nearly every year, I can say that my family never ran, male or female. We just hunkered down and let nature take its course.
Because if you leave, the hurricanes win.
Yeah. In fact, most people on our side of the state use the days off from work and school to throw hurricane parties.
Oh.
So to each his own, although I do vividly remember being absolutely terrified numerous times during hurricanes, it's probably why I grew up so messed up. Yeah, and because I was raised in Florida.
Yeah, I'd blame just Florida in general. Yeah. But let's move on. There were a lot of social media fuck-ups this year. We just reported on the one where Best Buy made a joke about a murder investigation just a few weeks ago, but we wanted to crown an official winner in the most fucked up social media mistake category, and only one tweet comes to mind when we think of that.
Back in April of this year, US Airways was responding to a passenger and was attempting to link what we assume was a traveler feedback page so they could talk about their experience with the company, but instead tweeted this photograph of a woman on her back, legs up in the air, and nether region spread with a miniature 777 jumbo jet aircraft nosediving straight into her vagina.
I mean, holy shit. It's one thing to make a distasteful joke and apologize, or to accidentally tweet from the company account when you meant to tweet from your own. I mean, I've done it a few times on the ETC Twitter, sorry, but posting a plane shoved so far into a woman's nether region that it's able to stand up straight on its own is really it's really in a league of its own.
Yeah, it's crazy. So bravo US Airways. You are the official winners of the first annual ETC Biggest Social Fuck-Up Award. So congrats.
Here's your golden toilet.
Flush.
All right, guys, so finding stories from earlier in the year that are fucked up aren't as easy when you're not looking day to day, which is what we started doing when we launched this show over 2 months ago. So we also wanted to pick out some of our favorites since we started the show. So sit back, enjoy, and maybe get a trash can or a bag, something, because you're gonna get sick.
Enjoy.
Go.
A woman has grown roots out of her vagina. What?
No, she didn't have sex with Groot, the lovable one-liner yielding tree from Guardians of the Galaxy. She was actually using a potato as a contraceptive.
Okay, well, you heard right. A 22-year-old woman from Colombia was told by her mother that shoving a potato up your vagina is a fail-proof method to prevent pregnancy, which obviously makes us wonder if the mother is sprouting roots of her own at some point in her life. Ugh.
The young woman was admitted to a local hospital where a nurse found that the roots had grown so large that they were fully visible outside of her nether region, and they then successfully removed the potato from her without having to resort to surgery.
Jesus. Why would someone do such a stupid thing? Well, it turns out that things are pretty conservative where she's from, and local families actually boycotted sexual education classes for the youth.
That'll stop them from fucking.
Yeah, so there you go. Sexual education is extremely important for young minds, if only for the fact that they won't resort to shoving random pieces of food into their penises and vaginas to stop them from getting pregnant. It's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, you'll grow roots.
Use a condom or birth control or something.
Not a potato.
Yeah, Jesus.
Use a potato for your photographs.
Yes. That's a good internet joke. We definitely fear for the children's future now that Miss Vanessa isn't around to teach them not to eat crayons, but not as much as we fear for our own lives whenever clowns are around, Elliot.
Yeah, that's colrophobia. Ooh. And that's just one of about 1 million reasons we're glad we don't live in Kern County, California.
Yeah, there's many other reasons I'm glad I don't live there, but clowns is certainly one of them now.
others.
There have been about 20 sightings of some creepy-ass clowns hanging around the cities of Bakersfield and Wasco this past week. They've apparently been seen walking around carrying knives and other weapons or just running up to houses trying to scare people. They're lucky they don't get shot.
There was a report that some of these sightings were just hoaxes, but no one is really sure. A 14-year-old was arrested after dressing up as a clown and chasing some kids. He said he was copying a prank he saw online, but there's no mention of whether it was related to the other clown creep.
Why was he arrested for? That's stupid. It's fucking October. Go dress up like a clown and chase people. Just tell him Ricky sent you.
Well, Ricky from ETC said I should do it.
Just do it. There's also multiple social media accounts claiming to be the Wasco clown. They uploaded some really weird pictures in clown costumes in front of city landmarks with captions like, "Come find me and I'll give you a balloon. No thanks." Yeah. So I'll just stay down here in LA where I have to be afraid of mostly crackheads and earthquakes. It's a lot safer down here.
And skin cancer.
Okay.
And car accidents.
Okay.
And whether or not I can pay rent this month. And all the actors. So this past summer, we had a great time reporting on all the ways soccer, football, was making people around the world lose their minds. And since the World Cup ended though, we've gone back to just being normal Americans who don't wake up at 4 in the morning to watch international soccer, because who the fuck has time for that?
Well, not me. But maybe we should reevaluate our priorities, because over in Eastern Europe, shit got fucking crazy at a match between Serbia and Albania.
Yeah, Serbia and Albania aren't exactly the best of buds, but nobody could have predicted that Albania's first visit to Serbia in 47 years for a soccer game would turn into an all-out brawl consisting of chair fighting, drones, and the arrest of the Albanian Prime Minister's brother.
You sure that no one saw that coming? I feel like that's something that we could see coming. But in the 40th minute, a drone flying a big flag appeared above the field, showing a map of Greater Albania. Basically, Albania with Kosovo added on. Kosovo was a majority Albanian area in Serbia until they declared independence in 2008, something Serbia is still understandably a little butthurt about.
Yep. So some Serbian players managed to grab the flag and pull it down, but then some Albanian players stole it back, and then a bunch of Serbian fans rushed the pitch to try and beat the shit out of the Albanians, one of whom had a plastic lawn chair.
Yeah, pandemonium broke out, and the Albanians decided that, hey, maybe we should get the fuck out of here before we get killed. So they fled to the locker room while Serbian fans threw shit at them, with some Serbian fans even greeting them at the entrance to the tunnel with tackles and kicks. This sounds like a much more entertaining sport than regular old football.
None of this is really all that unique for a soccer brawl, except for the fact that the drone flying the flag that set off this whole debacle was controlled by the brother of the Prime Minister of Albania, sitting up in his box seats, flying this fucking drone, caused this whole thing. He was promptly arrested, sent back to Albania.
Jesus.
I mean, this is sort of like if Michelle Obama's brother went to a US-England match and flew a drone taunting England for losing its colonies, and if the year was 1781.
Yes, I guess some prime ministers' brothers just want to watch the world burn. Well, I think I'll just read the actual headline for this one before getting into the story, because this headline belongs in a fine art museum. Beast porn case ends when sex tiger turns out to be man in tiger suit.
Okay, let's see what the hell happened.
Yeah, it looks like a man from Wales. Oh God, if there's any country where having sex with an animal is rumored to be a daily occurrence, it's Wales. Sorry, sheep shaggers.
So this guy got sent a video as a joke
yeah.
from some friends that showed a tiger having sex with a woman, and then he got charged with being in possession of extreme porn, which is apparently a thing over there.
Yeah.
He lost his job, he was forced to move because people were calling him and knocking on his door to make fun of him. He basically became the laughingstock of his town. Also, while fighting the charges, he wasn't allowed to see his young daughter for more than a year, and all of the stress over the course of the ordeal led to him having a heart attack.
Jesus Christ, that's fucking terrible. I mean, the headline was funny, but once you read into it, it's just awful. How did they figure out that the tiger wasn't real, Elliot?
Well, I guess police got curious and actually watched the video in its entirety instead of just turning it on, and they saw that during the video at one point the tiger audibly yells, "That's great!" Just like Tony the goddamn tiger.
That's like the worst fucking thing in the entire world. There's great police work by the parties up there, ruining this guy's life because they couldn't figure out that a tiger fucking woman was actually a man and a tiger.
I didn't know they had frosted flakes in the UK, so educational. Meet confirmed idiot Harrison Williams, who is now famous for jumping onto the rotting corpse of a dead whale while it was being eaten by great white sharks.
Yum. Why would he do such a stupid thing? Because, well, one of his mates said, you do the best Australian accent.
Yeah, we should mention this is in Australia, so they do this shit all the time,
Yeah.
presumably. It'd be pretty funny to surf the whale.
Which now changes the long-standing adage of, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you, to,
If your friend told you to surf a whale carcass while he was getting eaten by a great white shark, would you?
yeah, that's what all Australian parents will be questioning their children with from now on.
That's not a shark, this is a shark.
Yeah. Harrison said of his experience,
Definitely not, wouldn't do it again. I've done it, I don't need to do it again. Definitely was a stupid act, didn't mean to disrespect anyone. Mom thinks I'm an idiot. Dad's not so proud either.
I like that he basically alludes to the fact that you should do it once though. He's like, well, I've done it, I'm not gonna do it over again.
This is what I don't get about this is why was there like an aerial camera like recording the whole thing? Was it drones? Did they just have a drone?
Yeah, they were about filming a porno in
He should have had
Australia.
sex on that whale.
Yeah, that would have been a lot better. Then he could have sold it. This next guy found out the hard way that drugs can have some pretty weird effects on your body and mind.
Meet Colorado State student Stefan Shortland, who decided he wanted a Halloween to remember forever. Stefan kicked back a few mollies or MDMA or ecstasy or who knows what the kids are calling it on the street these days, but you know, Molly. And then he did some coke and he probably drank heavily and showed up at a Halloween party. All those drugs started mixing around in his system and then magically, an empty ambulance appeared before him. Oh no. Most likely while imagining that he was living out his own action movie in his head, he decided, I should steal that ambulance and take it on a joyride. Well, police caught up with him a short time later when they found the ambulance in the middle of a highway, looking like it had just been in an accident. It appeared like he'd hit a median, jumped the curb, hit a sign, crossed over into oncoming traffic, and then jumped back over the median before hopping out of the driver's seat. Officers found him close by wearing an EMT vest and carrying a box of wheat thins, so they tasered him for good measure. But this wasn't the end of his night. Oh, no. Not with that much Molly and clown powder in his system, because when he was brought back to the local police station, he proceeded to stand up, kick the wall, and start jerking off. And that, kids, is why you should do drugs. Wait. No Weekly Weird episode is complete without a Florida story, so here you go. Yay! Back in October, Florida man Matthew Faulkner had a few beers and headed over to the local Taco Bell for some late night crunchy tacos. No harm, no foul. After receiving his order, he fell asleep at the drive-thru window with his foot on the gas while the car was in park. So his truck caught on fire. Yeah, the fire was put out and somehow this guy was still passed the fuck out, so the Taco Bell manager called the police to come wake his drunk ass up. When they woke him up, they asked for ID, and Faulkner refused. He did what any wise drunken Florida man would do, and he handed the officers a taco from his bag as his form of ID. One of the cops clarified that they asked for an ID, not a taco, and Faulkner laughed and ate his ID, or taco. Yeah. Well, his blood alcohol level was 3 times the limit at 0.227, and he was arrested on the spot for DUI and maybe false identification. So good job, Florida, you made it again. We did it. I'm gonna keep a taco in my wallet at all times. Earlier this week at Boston's Logan International Airport, a 26-year-old man named Cameron Schenk was arrested for attempted murder, assault and battery, assault on a police officer, committing a lewd and lascivious act, and fucking mayhem. Yeah, I think that might be the 3rd or 4th time that someone we've mentioned on this show has been arrested for mayhem. And it's always terrible, and we don't condone it in any way, but we'll be damned if mayhem doesn't sound like the coolest charge to have on your rap sheet. Yeah, sir, I'm gonna have to arrest you for drinking all of that Mountain Dew and eating all of that pizza.
So what did this guy do to rack up all those charges?
Well, he allegedly stripped down to nothing, climbed up into a ceiling, crawled around like a greased up Scotsman, and then after falling through the ceiling, attacked an 84-year-old man.
Yeah.
The elderly man was injured, but is expected to be fine. This all started in a women's bathroom.
Yeah, which, it gets crazy.
He crawled up from the women's bathroom, naked, over to the men's room.
Yeah, then attacked
landed on an old
naked and caused a bunch of mayhem. All in a day's work for a crazy man in Boston. Sadly, there is no video of this incident that we can find, but we'd imagine the arrest would look something like this naked guy on acid at a music festival getting tased. So there you go. Take a deep breath. Here is a 4chan user who has been storing his cum in a jar with a My Little Pony Rainbow Dash figurine, and he learned the hard way that keeping a jar of semen on top of a radiator will make that cum turn brown and even more disgusting. You still with us? No?
In the man's own words, the place where I was hiding my cum jar were actually on—
Who has cum jars? Who the fuck is keeping cum jars?
It's a thing, I guess.
He talks about it like it's just everyone has one.
The place where I was hiding my cum jar were actually on top of a kind of radiator that was connected to our furnace, and of course—
He lives with someone?
And of course, since it's getting colder, we lit it up. So basically, the Rainbow Dash figure has been boiled in cum. It's brown now. And for comparison, I have also got another glass of cum that's about a week old, and it's pictured there in the picture right next to it. There's clearly a difference, he's right.
Stop saving your cum in jars. It's stupid.
Well, didn't Jesus say, like, don't cast your
he meant
seeds or something like that?
Don't fuck everyone, just like
They're
reproduce.
saving the cum.
For what?
I don't know, this stuff is fucking gross. Let's lighten everything up with a little holiday cheer.
Yeah.
Talking about Christmas, I mean chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, giving and receiving gifts, and maybe, just maybe, getting a kiss under some mistletoe.
Traditionally, mistletoe is simply hung above a door frame, but it's 2014 and some people think our traditions need some updating.
Well, they do. Restaurant chain TGI Fridays, where employees don't just wear uniforms, they wear fucking flair. They certainly thought mistletoe needed a 21st century update, and they decided the best way to implement mistletoe into their restaurant's holiday decorations was to attach it to a quadcopter drone and fly it around the restaurant while people eat.
I love this. So the second I saw this, I had an image in my brain of what it looked like, and I went and I watched the promotional video for it, and it lived up to all expectations.
They were watching your dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're calling it mobile mistletoe, and it sounds like a real holiday spectacle, right? Well, the Brooklyn Daily certainly thought so, and they sent one of their photographers down to Fridays to check it out. And it cut up her face.
Yes, it did. Miniature aircraft flying around a crowded restaurant. How could that go wrong? Turns out that when the very trustworthy looking man operating this drone, pictured here, offered to show off his drone skills by landing it on the photographer's hand, she flinched and one of the 4 uncovered blades on the drone slashed her in the nose and below her mouth.
Yep, let me just reiterate that they're not only using drones, there's
no protection.
Yeah, they sell drones that block the blades. They're not using those here. But anyway, Fridays has a loyal, dedicated customer base, and those who were present in the restaurant when it happened didn't really seem bothered by it.
I'm just enjoying my chicken fingers and mozzarella sticks. One customer commented, "It was like a scratch on her nose. I've seen far more worse blood than that." To this customer, apparently, a little bit of blood is just part of the TGI Fridays dining experience.
It just usually comes out of your butthole.
Yeah, I just want to say on this story, before we move on to the next one, the idea of a hostess or someone at TGI Fridays just operating a mistletoe-toting drone
is
terrifying. The funniest thing. I can't believe that it's real.
I wouldn't be able to concentrate on my food knowing that there's a fucking propeller spinning around somewhere in the restaurant.
I love that story so much, so much. All right, so there you have it. That's our weirdest of 2014. I mean, next year's list is gonna be nuts because we're gonna be doing this show the whole year, so I have a lot more ammo for you guys. But what did you think the weirdest story was? And
why was it the cum jar?
Yeah, why was it the cum jar with the My Little Pony in it? But seriously, I know there's a ton more of weird stories out there, so please, in the comments, post your weird stories. We wanna see them. We wanna remember 2014 the way it was. Really, really weird.
In the worst possible light, with the worst possible people.
See you guys in 2015.
See ya.